I will. Okay. Welcome everyone. So we are with the USMLE Sarthi team, and I am Pawan Khera, the co-founder and the director. And today I am joined by two of our other team members and panelists, Dr. Praneeth Reddy, who recently matched in internal medicine. He'll talk about himself, so I'll give him to him. And Dr. Harsh Patel, who matched at Mayo Clinic in family medicine. So let me just go to our panel so that they can introduce. So Praneeth, if you want to start.
Sure, Pawan, thank you. Hello, everyone. Hi, as Pawan mentioned, I'm Praneeth. I matched recently into internal medicine. And yeah, I'm excited here to talk to you all today, answer your questions if you have any. And yes, Harsh, you can go.
Okay, I'll go in the native language. So, Kem to everyone. So, my name is Harsh Patel. Graduate chose Mimarno, Surat, and I recently matched, as Pawan said, in family medicine at Mayo Clinic. And અત્યારે our main goal is to explain you guys કે કેવી રીતે USMLE function કરે છે, what are the important aspects જે students should take care of while they are doing their internship or graduate thaya pachi. So hopefully we'll be able to give you a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Harsh. And I have stayed in Gujarat for 4 years, so I understand Gujarati, but I find it difficult to speak. So Harsh will be our translator if you guys have any issues, just in case. So let me share the screen. We have a presentation, and then we'll go from there. Let's see. Okay. You should all be able to see this, and hopefully this is visible. If not, just let me know. Okay. So Harsh, just I asked him 10 minutes ago, so his picture is not there, but we already introduced ourselves, and we'll give you our website in case you are interested, www.usmlesarthi.com. So what is USMLE Sarthi? So we provide or hope to provide all aspects of your USMLE journey. So we don't do the step 1 preparation or the CK preparation, but we do the USMLE advisory, like what you should do for USMLE, how to get started, resources you need for step 1 CK, and Praneeth will talk about it later in the presentation. We do help with electives, we do help with research, and most importantly, we help with the residency application interview preparation. So after you have at least taken step 1 and CK, when you are ready to do the match, then we can help you with your electives even before the match. Research, we have a collaboration with Hackensack University. So this is just an overview of what we do. Like I said, our core services are electives, research for MBBS students. That tends to be now very important, and we'll go over why. Match guidance once you're ready to match. And once you're ready to at least think about USMLE, so on the top left, the USMLE strategy, how to think about it, how to compare options, when to start, so on and so forth. That also we do. So we started in 2015, more than 5,000 students we help, now 32 countries, but students from India tend to be the largest batch we help. About 70% of our students come from Indian MBBS India colleges. So what I wanted to do was, along with Praneeth and Harsh, get into some of the details about the USMLE, the residency, so that you have an idea of how it works. So here are some factors that are important for IMGs. IMGs are international medical graduates. All of you will be IMGs. So, and most of you will need visa. Now, some of you may have green card, but most of you will need visa. So I'll go over these factors, then, Praneeth and Harsh can chip in. So the most important, or one of the most important factors, is the scores. Now there are few exams, so we'll talk about it. USMLE step 1, USMLE step 2, CK, even step 3, and the OET. So now step 1 is pass fail. You don't have to worry about the score for step 1, but step 2 CK score will become very important now. And some of the students will also be taking step 3 to make it more competitive. So the point is that any exam which has scores, the scores become very important. So that is the first thing. The other thing you need to understand is your electives or the US clinical experience. So you can do your electives before you graduate. So before you get the certificate of completion, the degree, the diploma. So during your internship year or even before that, you can come to US. We can help you with electives. So electives are very important. Typically, if you can do 3 months elective, that will make it very, very powerful for your application. But there are many students who graduate and then do their internship or externship, the hands-on. So that is also possible, but electives are preferable. Then the visa is a factor. You, in most cases, cannot change it. Uh, but visa requiring IMGs also tend to match. So it is not that if you don't have green card, you cannot match. You can still match. Okay. Um, then there is something called letter of recommendation, LOR. So these are the recommendation letters you get after your electives. Maybe one you get from your home country, from your dean or things like that. But these are recommendation letters which are read, and they are also very important. So whatever experience you do, whether it is volunteer experience, whether it is electives, whether it is research, always think about what that person under whom you are rotating or working, what will he or she say to the program. So that is in form of a letter, a recommendation letter. Then here is the other important thing, is the year of graduation or gaps that you may have. It is very important to start on this journey very soon. The more recent year of graduation, so for those of you who may be graduating in 2023, 2024, the more recent your year of graduation and the sooner you apply, that is very important. Gaps have to be avoided. So many students have 1 year gap, 2 year gap after their MBBS before they realize they want to go USMLE. So those gaps can hurt you and they have to be avoided. Then the other thing, after you take the exams and do the electives, etc., you start with the application. The application for match is called the ERAS, ERAS, ERAS application. It has a CV or a resume. And the other important thing is the personal statement. Personal statement is like a 1 page, 500 words. Why do you want to join, say, internal medicine or family medicine? What have you done? Why are you a fit? So there is the CV or resume, and then there is a personal statement. Very important thing for the application. Like I said, the step 1 is becoming pass fail. There was another exam, clinical skills CS, that is now cancelled. So based on that, what is happening is even your research experience is becoming very, very useful. A lot of students now do research, remote research in the US, and we can help with that. but you can also start research projects in your college. That is also very, very important. You should start thinking about these things, and we will talk about it. And then is the interview performance. So after you apply, you have sent your CV and personal statement, everything you applied to the programs, then the programs will call you for the interview. Now during COVID, of course, past 2 3 years, the interviews are all remote, like you and I are talking on camera. But interviews are the most important thing, because they are at the end and they will help them decide. So your communication skills, how you tell them why you want, say, internal medicine, why you want to come to that program. So think of the the in India they have the GMAT exam and the MBA exam, and after in the MBA you have group discussion, you have interviews. Even for IAS you have some of those things. It is the same kind of interview. So you have to clear the interview successfully before you can start the residency and match. So before we get into details, let me give it to Praneeth first and then Harsh to see if they want to add something on these. So Harsh or Praneeth?
You can go in, Praneeth, with the steps.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Pawan, like, do you want me to? I mean, we can talk in detail as we go
Okay,
ahead
so
with
as we go in,
timeline.
so yes, okay, so you can talk about it, Praneeth.
Okay. So yes, guys. So the USMLE, for a big time, medical student, like even I as a medical student, thought that is all the match residency is about. It's just USMLE. Yes, it is a big part, but it is a part of the match process. Like when Pawan was going through the all the other things apart from scores, you would have realized that it's all a package and complete application. But yes, in the USMLE, we have the step one. Step one was one of the most important and biggest filters that programs used to use. So when thousands of people apply, they cannot interview everyone, they can only interview a few. And for that, step one was a very important filter. So scoring high was very important. But now that it is pass or fail, and the only exam that possibly is out there is step two CK. Step three, not everyone takes it, but yeah, so now the focus is on step two CK. So the aim is to get done with step one as soon as you can in the limited amount of time, pass the exam and shift your focus to CK and try to score high on that. So that is one implication of the step one, pass or fail. And next is it also kind of throws light on the overall application, like the importance of having a well-rounded application. Well-rounded application also means like good rotations, letters of recommendations from the people you worked with in the US during your rotations, and then research. That is something that I highlighted in red, because in the recent years, that is playing an important, especially if you want to match into an academic program or a university program, that plays a good role. And then is volunteering. This is of course often neglected as medical student. I think we don't have enough idea on that, but yes, that is also a part of your residency application, and you don't want to leave it blank. There are plenty of opportunities for volunteering, maybe Doctors Without Borders or your rural SPM postings. You can do something from the family health surveys that you guys go to. Or I started my own volunteering organization, I along with a group of friends. But all that matters is not what you're doing, but how committed you are, how long you're doing it. So yes, that's about volunteering. In next, yes, as I said, since step one is pass or fail, the other exams you have is step two CK and step three. Step one is all about basic sciences. Step two is about your clinical knowledge, all the third, fourth year subjects. Although all questions in USMLE are case or clinical based case scenarios, the step one focuses on the basic science aspects. Step two CK focuses on more of the management, diagnosis, and those kind prognosis and those kind of things. So yes, it will be the next important filter from the coming match. And step three, not everyone has to take it. If you take it, it will be a nice cherry on the top of your cake. But for someone who is out of graduation for long or having some red flags, no USC or maybe an attempt or low step scores, then step 3 will play a good role. In the other exam we have now or very recent is the OET, that is the Occupational English Test. You guys might have heard about step 2 CS, but because of COVID and everything that got cancelled. So consider OET as the current step 2 CS. It's just the alternative. We don't know how long it's going to be there, but definitely for the next 1 to 2 years, it will surely be there as an alternative to step 2 CS. And it is basically the English language and proficiency test like your TOEFL, with something more specific for those in healthcare. Next slide. Pawan,
Harsh, anything to add or?
Yes. So the one thing I would recommend you guys is to get in the community. Like there are certain USMLE groups, or there are certain Facebook groups or Telegram groups, so that what you can know is what's happening around. Like the with the step 1 coming into pass fail, you guys need to understand that right now you don't need to spend much time on step 1. Initially what students did was they wanted a 250 to 60, so what they did is spend more time. But now if it's just a pass fail, you don't need to worry. If you're getting 230 or 220 in your assessments and you're confident, just give it. So now saving time is a good thing, and that's what the step 1 pass fail can help. And if you want more time, you can always give it to the step 2, and rest everything Prince says was perfect. So yeah, this is the current recommendation for this.
Awesome.
Okay, Praneeth.
Right. So I think this is something important. So there is a lot of confusion, rumors among medical students oftentimes, hey, USMLE is getting tougher, you can't do it, or, something, the visa restrictions are there with COVID and everything, some of the other rumor comes up, from your peers or someone, whenever you say that you want to pursue the USMLE path. But let's really look into what the changes are, what the challenges are, and what is the success rate. So I think you guys must have heard about this 2024 WFME rule. That is the World Federation of Medical Education. So that is simply based. So until now, what happened was, for someone to be eligible to take the USMLE path or the USMLE exams, the criteria was that if you see the first link over here, the medical college in which you're studying should have been listed on that website, and you should have an ECFMG sponsor note on your college detail. And I did check it for your college. Of course, it is there, and you guys are eligible to take the USMLE now. But from 2024, this rule is slightly changing. So the thing is, the medical school accreditation body of the country, that is NMC for India, should be recognized by WFME. From 2024, if someone wants to take the exam, NMC should be recognized by WFME. So now people think, suppose suppose you're going to apply for the 2025 match, then are you not eligible to continue in the USMLE path? So this is a big confusion that is there going on. Now, absolutely, you can take the USMLE no matter the 2024 rule comes in, doesn't come in, NMC accredited, not accredited. You guys are not at a disadvantage. And the way to bypass this, or the workaround for this, is even though you might want to take your steps after 2024, the thing is, you can apply for the form 186, which is certificate of verification. Just go to the ECFMG website and Google the form 186. Apply for this form 186 process, and you are good for the next 5 years. You can take your you can start your step 1 or CK or anything anytime in the next 5 years once you register for this, and you will not be affected by the 2024 WFME rule. And I'm not just saying this, it's on the ECFMG website. The link is provided here. And if you are confused about the Form 186, we have a very clear and complete video on our YouTube channel on how to register for the Form 186. So do take a look at that. So the bottom line, you guys are not affected by this 2024 rule. All you have to do is complete the Form 186 process before you graduate, or even before, anytime before 2024.
So maybe if this is a bit confusing, Harsh, do you mind explaining it in native language?
Yeah. So यहाँ થાય છે શું કે પહેલા જ્યારે આપણે apply કરતા હતા, તો what happened is કે કોઈ problem નહોતો આવતો, because our college was listed, and our medical board, the Indian medical board જે હતું, that was certified by the United States. But હવે શું થાય છે કે after 2024, since there is something going on, જેનાથી આપણું NMC board will no longer be recognized. That's what they are saying. So એને bypass કેવી રીતે કરવું. So what you guys should do is a form 186 જે છે, like fill the form. Your college, તમારી કોલેજમાં જઈને there will be certain formalities, certain sign of the dean as well as some stamping. So a પત્યા પછી once you submit that to USMLE તો થશે શું કે you will have a window period of 5 years, and a 5 year માં you can possibly take all the exams, and that will definitely give you a good benefit.
Thank you. Thank you. This is complicated. So I wanted to make sure everyone understands that you are all eligible. Nothing is going to go wrong. You should proceed if you are interested in USMLE. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Harsh and Praneeth. Okay, Praneeth, next you wanted to talk about rotations.
Right. So clinical rotations, as you know, we call it the USCE, the United States Clinical Rotations. So why you need to do it? So the US medical system or the healthcare system is slightly, or a bit, there are certain differences between the US healthcare system and how our system works, be it the medical record system that we use in the US versus the paper-based system and certain other things. So someone who wants to take you for the residency position would like to see if you are acquainted with the US healthcare system, if you had an experience there. So that is one important reasons why you need to do the USCE. Of course, it is very important after your scores. So whatever it takes to do them, you have to put in those efforts. And number two, the advantage of doing those is you will receive letters of recommendation from whoever you are working with. So these letters of recommendation, basically, the program directors will be happy to see if someone who is already in the US healthcare system is recommending you to their program. They have seen you work, they know you are a good candidate, and they are putting in a word for you. So letters of recommendations are very, very, very important. After you bypass the score filter, these are the things that will decide who gets the interview, who gets ranked, and things like that. So yes, do the rotations, and that's when the aim is to also get a good letter of recommendation from that. And you guys might be confused about certain words: electives, observerships, externships. In simple words, electives and acting internships are something that you do when you are still a student. That is before you graduate, that you can still be an intern, that's okay. And observerships and externships are for people who are out of graduation, that is after you receive your final medical diploma. And hands-on means you are allowed to touch the patient, talk to the patient, work with the patient very closely. So electives are hands-on, and if you already graduated and you think you lost the opportunity, no worries. Externships are still hands-on, and USMLE Sarthi offers all kinds of these rotations. Yes, so definitely the take-home point is electives and acting internships. If you can do it before you graduate, definitely do them. Apply for places. There are a lot of universities that are open, so apply for them. We have detailed videos on those. If you're not able to find anything, we do have the USMLE Sarthi clinical rotations on our website. You can choose from the extensive list that is out there. Yes, at current pandemic, there is also another option, the tele-rotation. So someone who is not able to get a visa to travel, or for some reason is unable to travel to the US, you can still be in your home country at the comfort of your home and do these tele-rotations. That is all through the video-based thing on Zoom or WebEx or certain apps. And yes, they are still valuable. If you cannot do the USCE in the US, yes, they are valuable and people have matched with that. And Sarthi also provides tele-rotation options for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Praneeth. Okay, next is research.
Right. So in research, like I said, research number one, it shows dedication or commitment to your specialty, your passion for the specialty. And number two, with the step one, pass or fail, it is becoming more competitive. So they would like to see if you have these other checklists like research and publications. And also, like I said, to get into an academic hospital or a university program, these things help. So in terms of publications, yeah, like I said, commitment to specialty, and there are different kinds of publications that you can get: case reports, original studies that you studied in community medicine about those cohort studies, prospective, retrospective, or they can be review articles. That is, you don't have any real data, but you just reviewing the articles that are already published and putting your final opinion out there, taking those into consideration. But where to publish. So people always ask this question, where to Indian journals, US journals, international journals. So all that matters is, number one, PubMed indexed. Any journal, if it is PubMed indexed, it is good. And the impact factor, a decent impact factor for a journal is between 1 and 3. So those are some details, or the overview. And also, Sarthi does have a research course. They teach you there on how to do research, like basically the basics of research. And then also they give you a project to work hands-on, and you can get publication out of that. And that's most of the time a PubMed indexed and a good impact factor journal. Research position is different from publication. Fresh graduates don't need research position. It's not a must. If you can get it, that's still good, but it's not a must. So what you guys should be focusing now is on the publications. First, I would say go around, ask your faculty, someone who's already experienced in research or published, ask them if you can help them with any ongoing projects, or show your interest, talk about the topics that you are interested in, ask if you can work on any project. Number two, there are these ICMR and other short-term student internship programs for research in India. So definitely you can sign up for them when you're a medical student and do those kind of projects. Number three, if you cannot, then of course we do have a research course where we teach you, and also you can get publication out of it.
Thank you, Puneet. Okay, so let's quickly, if you want to quickly give them a timeline as a medical student, how they should plan their
Right.
USMLE, I think.
Good. So having a good timeline or a plan is very important, because you don't want to waste time on something that is not important versus neglect something that is very important. So I would say third year would be a good time to start your USMLE journey. Get oriented to USMLE in your second MBBS. Start thinking clinically. You're attending your rotation, so that will help. And then in third year, you can take your step one after you prepare for like 6 to 7 months. Now that it is pass or fail, it is very much doable. And we have very good videos on our YouTube channel covering the study strategy, tips, your timeline, everything for step one. And next, I would say final year is a bit tricky. It is very important. You need to focus on your final year subjects, and also that builds a very good foundation for your CK and going ahead. So final year, I would say focus on your final year exams, but at the same time, you can start solving UWorld for CK. That keeps you oriented for the step 2 CK. And during the first half of your internship, do a dedicated prep and take your CK. And then now that you already have your step 1 score from third year, you can apply for clerkships and try to schedule some clerkships or electives in the US at the end of your CK. That is basically at 7th or 8th month of your internship year. And
so
you
Praneeth,
can
just to clarify, the score, they will not have the score. I
All
mean,
right, now that you have a
pass.
step 1 report, I mean. So now some electives, basically university electives, require you to have step 1 score before. Now that will be step 1 pass. And so now you will be step 1 pass in third year. So using that, you can apply for clinical rotations at the beginning of your internship year and schedule them for around 7th or 8th month of internship. So you can get done with CK and go and do your rotations in the US. Then I would say come back, do the rest of your internship, graduate, and you can apply, you can prepare your application for September. So I think the most important things over here are get done with step 1 in third year, CK in internship, and schedule some rotations 6 to 7 months ahead of time, because they take time to get approved. Number 3 is September is the time when you need to plan back end. So basically by September, you need to have your step 1 CK score, be ESFMD certified, and done some rotations. So be ready by September so that you can finish your ERAS application and then apply for the match. And some things that we already spoke about, the volunteering opportunities and research. As a medical student, you have plenty of them. So keep an active eye out on them, ask people for help, and get some volunteering and research experience meantime.
Okay. Very quickly, if you are in your internship, right? So Praneeth, maybe in a couple of
Right.
minutes.
If you are an intern, if you started late, that's still not a problem. That's what happens most of the time. This is the most common scenario. And here I would say, now that step 1 is pass or fail, within first 6 months of your internship, by doing your internship itself, you can prepare for step 1 and get done. After that 6 months, you start your preparation for CK. And once you have your step 1 pass report, you can apply for clinical rotations in the US for university programs. And just before like the last month of your internship, you can take a break, and that depends on the institute. If it is allowed, you can do it. If it's not allowed, I'll tell you what to do. So if it's allowed, you can take a short break from the internship, do a dedicated prep for CK, give the CK, then go and do your clerkships that you already applied for. And the rest of the story is same. You come back and by September, try to be having your scores, USCE and BESFMD certified, and then you will apply. So if you are not allowed to take a break in internship, that is still okay. I would say even there are some clinical rotations that do not require a step 1 score, and we discuss them in our YouTube videos, like the University of Illinois Chicago, University of Alabama, Yale, Harvard, Stanford. There are some places that don't require you to pass step 1. So you can apply for these in the beginning of your internship. Make sure you do some of these electives before you end your internship, and so that way you will have these powerful rotations in your application, that is the electives. Yeah, and also like if you couldn't do electives before you graduate, that is still okay. You can do externships after you graduate, and those are also valuable. And yes, Sarthi does have these rotations. You can take a look on the website.
Thank you, Praneeth. So I think we already kind of went over this, correct?
Right, that's covered.
Okay. So the last slide we wanted to tell you. So all this that you have heard, we do offer you advice on step by step how to start your journey. Praneeth is actually going to be leading this. So this is something that you can consider. We tell you everything about how to prepare for step 1, when to do rotations, when to do everything. So we are preparing a subscription based thing for only the students, Indian students, to help you out. And we can talk about that later. But I think we wanted to now open up for questions. So Dr. Mehta, if the students have questions, now we can, we can, and I think there is one question I'm seeing. So he's saying, I'm planning to make a WhatsApp group for students applying from Gujarat.
I sent Pawan. I sent it to you.
You
yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll take yes. So yes, of course, Harsh, you can share. That's fine. So Dr. Mehta, are there questions you can ask the students, and they can type, and we can go from there.
What should we do? Whether we should allow them to come on the platform, or they should simply chat?
Yeah, this is a webinar, so I think chatting is allowed. I don't think because of noise and other. Right. If they really want to, then I can make them, but they can chat and give us the questions.
So I request all the students, whatever may be your question, you can put it in your chat box, and that will be answered by the expert. But I start with question number 1. Recently, I met with one of the parents of a student who is aspiring for a USMLE. What they conveyed that even though step 1 is converted into pass and fail qualitative result, but still the institute who are admitting the student, they have a backdoor knowledge of their score. Is it true?
I don't think so. But this is what will happen. I think for the next 1 or 2 years, you will see a mix of students. Some would have already taken step 1, others would be in pass fail. So a high step 1, those who have already taken step 1, and if they have a good score, that will always be an advantage. But if a student has just passed step 1, I don't think the institute will know what their actual score was. It is, that is, I think it is a rumor.
Right. Okay, so student, this is open for you. You can ask questions now.
So I think they started posting questions on. First question is safe.
Can I not see or what?
Not on the chat. Some are posting the questions on Q&A.
Oh, there is. Okay. Okay. Can you discuss about getting in surgery? So, okay, I'll start. So, surgery actually is a competitive field, general surgery or any other surgery. And what you will need now, of course, step one is pass fail. So, you will definitely need very high scores in CK. Uh, what surgery will also need is a lot of research experience. So, typically, students will do 1 or 2 years in the US. So that is what makes surgery more difficult. You have to do electives, high scores, but try to do 1 year at least in the US, full time research, and then you can apply to prelim year. Now, there may be chances that if you do very high scores in CK and you do electives, you can directly get into the prelim surgery. So surgery requires 1 year of prelim year. That could be doable sitting in India without spending 1 year in research. But in general, that is the harder specialty to get. There is another question on radiology. So radiology is very similar, competitive specialty. It will require a prelim year. So focus on high scores in CK, focus on electives if you can do radiology specific electives and research. Those are the things that you need. US research will be more beneficial in this case also. Letter of recommendations are much more important in radiology and general surgery. So the same kind of issues you will face in radiology. Prelim year is easier to get rather than the categorical radiology. But I think focus on the scores first wherever you are in your USMLE journey. Scores and electives will be the first two things I'll recommend. Okay, Praneeth or Harsh, I am an intern. If I give step one in November or December, what are my elective options? Do you want to take it, Praneeth?
Yeah, sure. So as an intern, that's what, like I said, there are plenty of USCE options open, and since you didn't graduate, number one you can do is electives. And I would say, I don't know, like some institutes do allow you to extend your internship. If that is the case with your institute, then what you can do is apply for these rotations once you have the step one pass report. There are plenty, like I said, some names: University of Illinois, Chicago, Louisiana State University, University of Alabama. The list is extensive. We have covered them in our YouTube videos. So there are plenty of options. Apply for that. Number two, if your institute doesn't allow you to extend your internship, then I would say there are still some programs that do not need a step one pass or fail. So apply to those programs. Either ways, what I'm suggesting you is before you graduate, try to get at least 1 or 2 rotations done so that you will have that elective checklist done on your application.
Yeah. And I'll post the link to our YouTube channel if you want. So you can all subscribe to it and look at the video. So I've just posted the link to the channel. And of course, we have Instagram also, so you can, follow us there. What other questions can we answer?
Pawan, there is one in here who is saying what kind of volunteer work can help. So I can help in that condition.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
When we are talking about volunteer work, you don't need to be specific that it relates to your particular field or in your medicine related. Like when I was a medical student, we had a pulse polio campaigning. So that is one of the things you can mention. We organized multiple blood donation camps in our medical school. That is a volunteer work. Even we had those infectious disease where we used to counsel the patient for elephantiasis. We used to give them DEC medicines, and these are the kind of volunteer works which you already have did, and you need to figure out what you did. And other than that, the PSM rotations which you have in third year, these are very important since you guys are going to various Anganwadi where you are helping the children, educating them about various things. So these are also some kind of volunteer works that can definitely help. And as like Praneeth said, you can also take an initiative and make your own volunteer group and do certain activities that can look good on your CV.
Okay. And I am taking questions both on chat and otherwise. So one of the questions was, what is the total cost of USMLE journey? And I've, given you a link to our YouTube video. So you can watch step by step how much it costs. So that's that. The other question comes from Parth Patel. After the preliminary year in any surgical branch or radiology, is it a confirmation that I can get matched in those branches? Actually, no, it is not. You still have to work very hard. So preliminary year is common. So if you want, say, radiology, orthopedics, anesthesiology, dermatology, surgery, all of them go through the surgery, general surgery prelim year, and then what you do in that year. So if you are interested in radiology, you have to focus on radiology research, rotations. There is no guarantee, but your chances will be very high. The other question, USMLE Sarthi services cost. So we have various services. So for example, for electives, it varies by the location. Where do you want the elective? How much? So some are $800, some are 1,000, 2,000. So it's on all the website. Then the research. In research, we collaborate now with Hackensack University, and their faculty teaches now our research course. So it is $900 for 2 publications. And then there are the other courses like Praneeth is mentioning, where we on a monthly basis, we tell you step by step what to do in USMLE, what is the next step. So all your questions about USMLE are answered. That is a subscription based services. I think it will be, each month will be less than $50 as a subscription. So you will get to talk with us. There'll be a group and all that. So it depends on what service you want, but I can tell you our URL that you can go to. Okay, so Praneeth, maybe you can do this. What things should first year MBBS student do if you are in the first year?
Right, very enthusiastic. That's nice. But usually, what I suggest for first year students is adjust to the medical school environment. It's a new transition from intermediate to your +2 to your MBBS. So adjust to your medical school curriculum. Just try to focus on the 3 subjects, the big subjects: anatomy, biochemistry, physiology. Try to have a very good foundations in those subjects. One thing you can do USMLE oriented is there are certain good videos for this 3 subjects. The Kaplan videos are good. They give a very good foundation. Boards and beyond videos are good for these 3 subjects. So along with your regular preparation, just watch those videos when you're reading that particular chapter. Apart from that, I would say nothing much. You can start your dedicated for USMLE or anything in your second year. But of course, form good relationships with your professors and everyone. Try to do some basic science research in these subjects or start volunteering. These things you can do to build your application and show your passion for the field, but otherwise nothing much.
Okay. One question which is important for all of you. They're asking if I need any certification for volunteering done in PSM posting or anything. So in the US, they don't really ask for certificates of these things, but they expect you to discuss it during the interview. It's not that they are going, step by step, tell me where you did your volunteering, show me the certificate. It is during the interview that they will expect you to talk about how you made a difference in someone's life, or maybe you started a blood donation camp, or as Harsh was saying, some of those other pulse polio posting, or maybe during COVID you did something. So you just have to be able to talk about it. Certificates are not expected.
Just to add, Pawan, like as a medical student, this was a big question for me too. So it's not just about certificate, like Pawan is saying, show your passion and commitment to that. Just doing it one day and leaving, they will easily be able to make out when they ask you in interviews about that. If you really showed your passion, done it for anything more than 6 months, then you will have a lot of experiences to talk about, add so much in your CV. So pick anything, show your dedication for more than 6 months and do it, and it will be very much valid.
Okay. Next question. how much
think there is-
duration should be the electives or externship, and how much time does it take for them to respond back? So generally, if you look at the USMLE system, they want 4 letters of recommendation. So we recommend at least 3 months of electives. If you can do 4, that is fine, but at least 3 months of electives, which can give you at least 3 letters, 1 month each, so 3 electives. And how much time does it take for them to respond back? Now, due to COVID, a lot of universities had closed their electives. They are opening back. They tend to be filled up very, very soon. I think 6 months before you start, or before you are ready, you should apply, before you are wanting to do the elective. If you go through us, we can probably get you there in 2 months. But plan ahead, because electives are not easy. Many are still closed, but plan for 3 months at least.
Right. Yeah, 6 to 7 months. But just another important point, as a medical student, we don't realize, but visa is very important. So some of you who don't have a B1, B2 visa, this is the right time when you're a medical student, when you still have to come back and graduate, you have strong home ties. So now is a good time to apply for a clinical rotation and use that letter to get a B1, B2 visa. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Also,
Okay,
like following up on what Praneeth said, it's the right time since the waiting time for B1, B2 visa in India is enormous. So even if you apply right now, there are high chances you might get the appointment like a year or more than a year later. And I am not sure if you can go for emergency appointments, since even the matched residents are finding it hard to get appointments. So yeah, plan early, apply right now, join some group as I mentioned, and get some letters and start early.
Okay, maybe this question I'll give split between both of you. So Praneeth, if you can talk about your experience on the exam day, and Harsh, maybe you can talk about the interview experience. So that someone is asking both these questions. So Praneeth, maybe the exam day experience.
just before that, can we answer that one query which is there? The form 186 is a student specific or institute specific?
Right. So Form 186 has nothing to do with the institute. An individual student applies on the ECFMG website. To be very honest, it doesn't even need the medical school approval or the dean's approval. So just apply on the website for Form 186. You need to do, there are 2 parts to it, the online part and the notary camp part. So everything doesn't have to do anything with the medical school. You just have to go on the website and apply. We have a very detailed video.
Yeah, I'm
Students
gonna
can watch
put that video link. So detailed video on Form 186.
Right. Thank
I'll
you.
put it.
The
Yes, now
exam
you can answer your
application.
question.
Right. The exam application, they will need the dean's approval, the signature and everything. That is Form 183. So this is Form 186. Doesn't have to do anything with your the dean's signature or anything. Right.
Okay, so
So
Praneeth,
about
exam
the
day.
exam day experience, right? It's very important. So all the preparation is one aspect of it, and the 7 hours, 9 hours exam day is one thing. I would say I was very much prepared for my exam, mentally, physically, everything. So a day before exam, I used to wake up at 3 o'clock so that in the night I don't have any issues with sleep because of the anxiety or anything. I go to bed at 9 o'clock and then 9 p.m. and I have a good night's sleep, at least 6-7 hours. Then before I just reach the exam center, I orient myself towards the questions. I just solve like 3-4 questions so that I am oriented to that pattern of reading the questions, scanning the options. My mind goes into that exam mode. Then the exam, once you reach the exam hall, of course, you need to be prepared with those documents and everything. And then, pack a good lunch or whatever, you only when your stomach is happy, your mind is happy, those endorphins, and you perform better. So I used to take any food that is good. People talk about proteins, fat, that sugar crash, everything, but I used to only take whatever I love. I used to take some chocolates, any food I love. So between the breaks, so yeah, so I used to eat good food. And then planning the breaks is something important. I used to take break after every block. Doesn't matter, I go out and eat something, go to the washroom, or I just take a break and sit there in front of the computer. But I do take a break after every block and relax for a few minutes over there. And apart from that, I would say confidence matters a lot. trust on your assessments. If you did well in your assessment, very likely that you will perform well on your exam day. Some questions on some blocks might seem tough, but that is for everyone. That it's a very standard exam. Don't let that impression carry on to the next blocks. So yes, confidence, be prepared, have a good night's sleep, and take some good food and caffeine. Yeah.
And we will help you if you need help in these exam strategies and tips. Praneeth is gonna help you, and we will, Dr. Mehta, we will have a webinar open to public on Sunday, next Sunday. So I'll send you the link if any of your students are interested. But Harsh, let me go to you to share your experiences about the interviews in general.
Yeah, so the interviews are always like program specific. Like some programs go
And
expect
maybe
you
Harsh, just to make a variety, talk in Gujarati.
Okay, so
English.
interviews like બધે અલગ અલગ હોય, like program specific હોય. So the J program I matched, my interview went on for like 7 hours tak ચાલેલું. That 7 કલાક ચાલ્યું that interview. But you should not feel the pressure, since એ લોકો બી welcoming હોય છે. They are not ready to just fire shots at you. એ લોકો બહુ hard questions નહીં પૂછે. They just want to know you. So what you need to do is prepare well. Because मैं सारथी join करेल almost like June માં, and after that the सारथी interview classes start થઈ ગયા હતા, and I did participate in almost many classes, and that gave me a confidence. So when સારથી interview preparations માં એવું હોય કે there will be a group of 10 people, and you will be discussing the answers, and people will point out something wrong or something good in your answer. So at it, so you will know, okay, bhai, how am I performing? How is my interview prep? And એના પછી there will be 4 mock interviews. So in mock interview ma there will be 4 physicians, resident physicians like us, and we will do 45-minute interviews, and we will assess how is your preparation, KVU, how ready are you. And when you go into the interview, just be calm, composed, have a smile on your face. Don't, and agar koi eva questions aaya where you feel that you don't know the answer, you can always be polite and just keep a smile and just say ke at this point of time I don't have a suitable answer for this. So try to tackle any situation which you might face in, but they don't usually do that. Since I mara jitla bhi interview hota, I never faced any question where I had to just stand there, and they know your expressions. Like if a student is not able to answer a certain question, they will try to maneuver, and they will try to ask a different question. So be calm, be composed, and also the Sathi interview insights are also there, so you get a good idea of how the interview thing works. So yeah, that was a great experience, and just be calm, composed, be yourself, prepare well.
Thank you. So Dr. Mehta, I think we answered all questions, and we have, we spent about 1 hour. Hopefully, is there any other question? Or we can always help your students, not a problem.
Yeah, it was great of you to guide our student. They are new one, and when the new question arises, definitely we'll forward them. We'll also ask them to contact you in case they want to subscribe your services, right?
Yes.
But right now, definitely it was a great help from Dr. Harsh, Dr. Praneeth, and Pawan, you yourself, right? I really enjoyed the session, and plenty of things which we were not aware about. We knew that, and especially form number 186, that even we are not aware about it. Right, so definitely it was an enlightening session, and we'll be in touch with you. Thank you once again. Right.
All right, thank you everyone, and thank you to our panel. Appreciate your time, and for any questions you can check us on Instagram or our YouTube channel. We respond there, or you can send us an email. Okay, and we'll send you information about our Sunday webinar also. Thank you.
Surely. Right.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.